Yo, what's going on YouTube and welcome to Goal Line Hockey. It's Kevin Forte and today we are continuing the season preview series videos as we take a look at the Buffalo Sabres. Now, we're going through all 32 NHL teams, so if you are interested in getting kind of the scoop on all 32 NHL teams in about a between 8 to 15 minute video, this is the channel. Make sure you're subscribed, you like the video, and you check out those other videos. But like I said, today we're heading to Western New York to look at the Buffalo Sabres. And, this is a team where the expectations are high, right? They need to make the playoffs. And, the question is, can they break the longest active playoff streak or playoff drought in the NHL? So, what are they going to do that? So there's two big additions on the back end that are really the cornerstone pieces of the offseason. Nothing crazy, but they're going to make a difference. Connor Clifton comes in from that team from Boston we don't talk about. So Connor Clifton comes in, a questionable contract, but I think nonetheless is a good defenseman. I think someone that the that the Sabres are going to like. They also bring in a guy that won a Stanley Cup not all that long ago. Eric Johnson comes in. Now, I have a lot of concerns about his health, but it's a one-year deal, so I guess in that sense it's not the worst thing in the world, but just the veteran leadership, just having him in the room is more than enough value for this Buffalo Sabres team. And considering all these guys are on entry-level money, Clifton and Johnson coming in are good veteran presences that are going to really help this team this coming season. And that's saying a lot considering Clifton is only 28 years old. That's a veteran on this team. Rookies, there's only really one, and that's Lucas Roshek. He did play 2 games with the Sabres last year, but I don't consider that he's still a rookie in my eyes. 2 games is not much in that sense. So that's your only technically rookie coming in. Other than that, this is kind of the team. Unless a guy like Jack Quinn slips into the lineup or Yuri Kulich or Matthew Savoie, unless somebody kind of random comes out and makes the team, we are not going to see any of that. Maybe Nikita Novikov, that's an outside chance that he gets in. But other than that, we're not going to see much rookies in terms of to start opening night for the Sabres. Breakout player to watch. Now, everyone's probably going to say a guy like Peterka or Roshek or Middlestat, but I'm going to go with a little bit of a different angle here. I'm going to go with Tyson Yost. Now, he played at the University of... where did he play? It doesn't say. Yeah, he played at the University of North Dakota a couple of years back, and I remember watching him at Madison Square Garden. Really talented hockey player. But it just never really worked in the sense of his development was too slow for this team. And that's kind of what happened to Alex Newhook too, is they kind of got shipped out because they just weren't developing fast enough. And I think that you look at his last season in Buffalo, he had 22 points in 59 games. There's potential there in Buffalo. And he's going to get an opportunity to play with some pretty good players in Buffalo as well this coming season. This is the opportunity that he is going to need to break out and have that type of breakout season. And now, they have him listed here on the 4th line playing with Oposo and Girgensons. And if that's the case, that's going to be tough sledding for him, no doubt about it. But if he can even jump into that top 3 lines at any point, playing with Olofsson or Krebs or Cousins or Middlestat or Peterka or Skinner or Tuck or Thompson or any of those guys, if he plays with any of those guys in the top 6, even the 3rd line, if he jumps into the 3rd line, that would be good enough for me. And that might end up happening. If they move Girgensons to the center role, move Greenway to the 4th line, Tyson Yost playing on that 3rd line would see a huge amount of production that I think he's capable of, very much capable of, playing with guys like Krebs or Olofsson. So that's my guy to pick as a breakout player. It's definitely a risky pick, but I'm willing to take the bet here. I think this is a guy not many people are talking about and has the potential to do some real things and make some noise for the Buffalo Sabres next year. With that said, it's really not a ton of change to the roster, right? Peterka played last season with the Sabres. Krebs is going to get a little bit more ice time, but, he's been with the Sabres. He played with them last season. It's really it's more so about the development of some of these players, right? Peterka's development, Cousins, Krebs, how are they going to develop? On the back end, Matthias Samuelsson, Owen Power, how are those guys going to develop, right? And that's kind of where things sit with the Buffalo Sabres. We know what they are, but are they going to be able to reach that potential of maybe getting to the promised land of making the playoffs? Because I think in this division, I just talked about that team in Boston, and I said, I think there's going to be a little bit of a stabilization in that conference or in that division, in the sense that you're not going to see a team run off 135 points at the top, and then at the bottom having a team with 50 points. Realistically, the only team in the Atlantic that I think could finish that low is the Montreal Canadiens. Everybody else, I think Detroit's better. I think Ottawa's better. I think Buffalo's better. And those are the three teams everybody's talking about that could maybe snag a spot from a Tampa or a Boston. But then you put that in reality, right? The reality check is, well, you have to knock off the Boston Bruins or the Tampa Bay Lightning or the Florida Panthers. And that's not going to be easy to do. So realistically, if one or two of those teams gets knocked out, and one or two of those teams I just mentioned on the bubble trying to work their way in gets in, there's a very realistic chance that Buffalo isn't one of those teams. Now, I will say, of those teams, I'm the most confident in Buffalo over Ottawa or Detroit. But again, that my opinion here only goes so far, because you have realistically three teams competing for maybe one or two spots in that division to begin with. And that's if one of those teams that I mentioned falls off. So Buffalo is in a tough spot here, but I'm going to be optimistic. And I think the expectations are going to be around where they were last year, which is 35 to 40 wins next season, around 90 to 95 points. I think that's very realistic for the Buffalo Sabres. They're going to be, if they get to that 90-point mark, they're going to probably miss the playoffs. If they get to that 95-point mark, we might be talking about the Buffalo Sabres playing past that 82-game schedule and actually having some playoff home dates next year in 2024. I'm going to be optimistic. I think the Buffalo Sabres make the playoffs this spring. I think with how close they got last year, they ran out of time. But I think this coming spring, they have the goalies. If Devin Levi can do what he needs to do, if Eric Comrie can be decent and serviceable, I like that better than the two other goalie options out in Ottawa and Detroit. That goalie tandem could be the difference for the Buffalo Sabres in 2024, and I think the Sabres punch their ticket to the playoffs, getting anywhere between 35 to 40 wins with 90 to 95 points. That's my predictions, guys. I want to know what you guys think down below. I think there's going to be some debate for this one, because I think a lot of people, I think it could be a pretty even split, 50-50, that Buffalo will make the playoffs and Buffalo won't make the playoffs. I want to know what you guys think down below. Guys, make sure to check out our Teespring shop down below at Goal Line Hockey. We've got a 10% off discount code right now in the shop, because I just launched some new merch. We've got some Goal Line Hockey hats that are available for the next week. You will be able to get a 10% discount code till later next week. So guys, that's it for today's video. Make sure to subscribe and like the video, and I will see you again next time. Peace.